Hello, everyone. I wish you love, peace, and compassion. Today is the last episode of season one. Soulfully Yours is a project very dear to me, holding conversations with people of diverse backgrounds to collect pearls of wisdoms and insights have always been my passion. I started this journey in 2017, however, I couldn't move too far. I believe there is a right time for everything. And now, when we are at the end of our first season, it gives me a sense of immense fulfillment reaching this milestone. The guest that we have on our show today, I share some common traits with him. And yes, you are right. We both are rebels to some extent. It is always enlightening to hear perspectives that challenge your mindset. And so, rebels have an important role to play in the transformation of the society. We welcome Mike Patterson, business consultant, CEO of BusinessMastery and Business Mastermind Middle East. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Hi, I'm fantastic. Thank you. And yourself?
Wonderful, wonderful. Excited.
Wonderful. Great.
Uh, so, as the first question of our show goes, who is Mike Patterson at soul level?
That's a very good question. Next. Who's Mike Patterson? I have no idea. I'm cosmopolitan. Do you want me to give you my canned background, if you like?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm originally from UK. I left home when I was 3 days after my 16th birthday. My father was Army. My parents moved 25 times. I missed 3 of their moves. I did my first move when I was 6 months old. I was 17 and a half when I left UK. 6 years later, I had been all the way around the world twice. 50 plus countries on 6 continents. So I've traveled to more than, as I said, 50 countries. My background's marine engineer, mechanical engineer. Sorry, excuse me. I ran heavy equipment maintenance facilities for more than 2.5 decades. I ran them for the military, the UN, all across MENA, and for Sheikh Mohammed here for 9 years. Around 22 years ago, I got into corporate training. I'm a generalist. I've trained on more than 30 different subjects. 2015, I got into coaching. I was life coach, productivity coach, exec business coach, and now I'm a consultant. I've spent
Wonderful.
2 to 3 hours a day for the past 20 something years upgrading my skills. So I've listened to over 10,000 hours of audiobooks. I've spent 15,000 hours watching videos. I've read thousands of books. I flew to UK with my family to walk on fire with Anthony Robbins. And
Wow.
where is it? Here is an arrow I broke.
Oh, amazing.
And you break the arrow by putting it in your throat here, and then
Gosh.
leaning forward and breaking the arrow.
Wow,
So I've done
that's
all
awesome.
sorts. I've done all sorts of stuff. Who am I? I have no idea. Where am I from? I'm cosmopolitan. I'm a person of the world.
And
I
what
love
about the
what I do.
deeper Mike at soul level?
At soul level,
Yeah.
you said the word. I'm a rebel. Even as a kid, when everybody did one thing, I was proving my rebelness, if you like. I would do something completely different. I've never followed the crowd, because if you do what
I
everybody else does, you get what everybody else gets. And that's not what I want.
Uh-huh. And as you mentioned that you have made a lot of move, have done a lot of travel. What is something that you learned from it? And let's say what
No,
inspired you to move at the age of 16?
what inspired me to move the age of 16? I wanted to travel. I'd
Mm-hmm.
already lived in Hong Kong as a child,
Mm-hmm.
and I just thought there's more to the world than like UK. We'd moved all over UK, but I thought, no, I want to see more of the world. I want to
Mm-hmm.
see it. And I still haven't finished. 50 plus countries, it's what, 20%?
Mm-hmm. And
Which
what
is
are the
cool.
three lessons or three insights that you got from these travels?
That we're all the same. Race, color, creed, gender doesn't make any difference. People respond, react, there's a difference, the same way to a given set of circumstances. So at the ultimate level, we're all humans. It doesn't matter where we come from. It doesn't matter what we believe. We're no different. We're the same. It's just
Wonderful.
external. We look differently, but internally, we're the same. We are a spiritual being having a human experience, not the other way around, because after we die, our spirit goes on,
Exactly.
right? So we're only here for a limited length of time, and it's nothing in
Mm-hmm.
the big picture of things. I've learned. People sometimes ask me, "What is the best country I've been to?" Best, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I've liked a lot of countries. Worst was Nigeria. What I
Mm-hmm.
found in Nigeria is that life is really cheap. Life has no, or had, I was there 40 years ago. Life has no value at all.
Mm-hmm. Value in what sense?
Okay. I lived in Lagos for about a year, and we have what called go slows. Go slows is when the traffic just stops, 3, 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
One day, two guys decided to rob a lady. They stole the handbag, got onto the central reservation, started running up the central reservation. So the lady starts screaming, blue murder, everything. Drivers pile out. They catch the robbers and sort of beat them up, and then they necklace
Oh,
them. Do you know what necklacing is?
tying around the head, neck.
No.
Uh-huh.
It's 2 tires and a gallon of petrol.
Oh.
So they necklace them on, it's like midday, middle of the road, middle of the day. Thousands of people
Mm-hmm.
around. Just put two
Mm-hmm.
tires, gallon of petrol, set them on fire. And
Oh.
you know what? Nobody blinked an eyelid. I moved north to a
Mm-hmm.
place called Ajakuta, and every day I was driven through a place called Okene. Right, this is 1982. So yeah, it's almost 40 years ago. 1 month of the year, I have no idea what they call it. It's a special month. Any female outside after dark is stoned to death. Any female after dark will be stoned to death. Right?
Okay.
You had witch doctors dressed up, with whatever, the straws and their bones and their skulls and everything, and they're followed by around 200 people down the street.
Okay.
And as you drive past, they will congregate, stop you, just wind down
Mm-hmm.
the window, give them some money, they let you go. I was doing this twice a day. One day, the car following us, the passenger starts taking photographs. Stop the car, turn it over, petrol, set fire to it. Because the passenger was taking photographs.
Oh, okay.
And you don't stop. You don't stop, because if you do, you're next. The good
Yeah.
thing about Nigeria, after Nigeria, everything else is a piece of cake. Everything else is, oh, yeah, so what? What's new? What's
So
next?
yeah, desensitization. That's what it is, right?
Yeah, it's zero value. It's
Mhm.
right. So
And
consequently,
seeing
I tend.
death from so close, and I can relate wherein I have a similar experience of being. Uh, I'll share it some other time, but it was an experience near to where somebody, three guys would came to our house in the middle of the night, and they put the gun at my back. So that's a traumatic experience that
Mhm.
I have seen death from very close. So I can relate when you're saying that life has no value. I
It,
do
it it
relate.
it can have no value, but what happens after those experiences is that what we realize that every day above ground, it's a
Mhm.
gift, because people
Yeah.
don't realize it. As a kid, I could have should have died a number of times.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back at it, really, I could have died 4 or 5 times when I was around
Mm-hmm.
4, 5, 6 years of age. The stress was so much in Nigeria that they alter, and it's the main artery leaving the heart, elongated, kinked, and split, or
Mm-hmm.
started to split. Even if I'd been on the operating table in a hospital, they would not have been able to save me. If it had
Mm-hmm.
split, the blood just pumps into the body cavity. You've got 4 minutes to live. That's it. You're gone. Luckily,
Exactly.
it luckily it repaired itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I was told. Right, I had a CAT scan, whatever. The doctor said, "Oh, look at that." I went, "Okay, what the heck's that?" He said, "This is what happened." I went, "Okay, yeah, I can I can relate to when that happened." So from that
Mm-hmm.
day on, and especially at my age, there's thousands of people go to sleep and don't wake up the next morning.
True.
There's
That
thousands of
that
people.
that's a reality. That's a reality. And where you have these multiple experiences, seeing the world from this lens, where there is desensitization, where there is experience of seeing death from so close. What do you think? At what level of human collective consciousness we are living in?
Okay, Jules University a few years ago did an experiment. They took astronauts and they said to the astronauts, while you were up there, they were circling the moon, whatever, think specific thoughts. Those thoughts were picked up here on Earth. Don't ask me how they do this stuff. I just read the research. So, what we know is that our thoughts travel a minimum of 250,000 miles,
Mm-hmm.
right? In 1995, a Japanese scientist called Masaru Emoto started taking samples of water from all over Japan. He put them in, these petri dishes, sample
Mm-hmm.
dishes. Okay. Flash froze them minus 25. Took them out, still in a freezer environment, -5, put them under a microscope. Depend on what words were written on the container, depends on what sort of crystals grew. So love, peace, harmony, joy, Mother Teresa got beautiful symmetrical crystals. I
Mm-hmm.
hate you, I'll kill you, you fool, Hitler actually destroyed the structure of the water. He played music to the water. Mozart, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, classical music, beautiful symmetrical crystals. Heavy metal destroyed the structure of the water. He had people
Think.
around the
Yes.
table directing thoughts at a jug of water. The
Mm-hmm.
structure of the water changed. But in another room, nobody there, the structure of that water also changed,
Oh,
right?
so
Water has memory, by the way. It remembers where it's been, right? Water is a fascinating
it
element.
has healing properties as well.
It has. There was water cannot be explained. It's the only element in the world that exists as a liquid, a solid, and a gas naturally. Nothing else does that. Everything in the world, when you freeze it, gets smaller and heavier. Water gets bigger and lighter.
And the
Nobody knows why.
anomalous property of water, the anomalous property of water, if I remember my science correctly, is when the water freezes at the top base and there's like on the lake and the fishes live inside. So
Yeah,
that's
but
a property
because
of water, right? So I
yeah,
mean,
but that's
it's
the fish. The fish are cold-blooded, so the temperature adjusts. Fish are not warm-blooded,
yeah.
so the temperature adjusts.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
So which brings me to the point that we human beings are 75% water. So what are we doing to ourselves with all the thoughts that we think?
correct. Everything you read, everything you say, everything you listen to, everything you speak affects us at a cellular level. Did I tell you what I call default theories? Did we talk about it before?
No, I have a long list of the topics that we were discussing on the chat, and I was wondering, let's which one to pick, and they were also interesting. So thought let's start with the first one, and let's see how far we can go. And the
Okay.
first one was that I want to ask the question is you mentioned about the standard education. What is your perspective on that?
Okay, the so-called education system is not the education system. It's the scholastic system. And I'm really good at research. I do a lot of it. I don't watch TV. I don't listen to the news. Right? I haven't done for 20 years.
Same
But
here.
I do research. Right? In 1902, there was a conversation between my two favorite guys, Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller Sr. The conversation went something like this. Carnegie to Rockefeller, if we are to maintain our elite status in the world, we need to start educating the population. Carnegie would look after external students, Rockefeller internal. 1903, Rockefeller instigated the GEB, General Education Board. And anyone who doubts this, you can Google it, okay? And what Rockefeller wrote at the time, and this is word perfect, I do not want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers. School
Thinking
teaches
is
first,
dangerous, right? Thinking is dangerous, not suitable
well,
for.
we go back far enough. It was either Henry Ford or Thomas Edison who said, thinking is one of the hardest things we do, and most people would rather die than think. We are not encouraged to think.
Yeah.
What Rockefeller wrote when he formed the GEB, as I said, I do not want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers. The system that school teaches, and I've talked to people from all over the world, go to school, study hard, get good grades, leave school, get a job, work hard, save money, you'll be successful. Does the system work for the majority of people? Yes, no? Does the system work? Hello, talk to me, say something.
Yeah, yeah,
Does the system work?
yeah. For as
For the
for
majority
workers.
of people, are the majority of people we know happy, healthy, wealthy, have good relationships? Would you say 95% of the people you know are happy, healthy, wealthy, and
They try to
content
be,
with. No, I don't. I'm
pretend
not
to be.
asking, do they try to be? I'm asking, are they?
No, they are
No, they're
not.
not. And by government statistics, that system has a 96% failure rate. By government statistics, not my statistics, government. The government says that this system fails 96% of the time. So when I came across this, I went, okay, why keep a system that fails 96% of the time? Doesn't make sense. What do 99% of people look for when they leave school? A job.
Yeah.
The scholastic system is a factory to churn out employees, and on that, they have a 99% success rate. It is
Mm-hmm.
not there to educate people, it is there to get people to conform and do what they're told. They want, as George Carlin says, obedient workers.
It's
They want
easier
them,
to rule the world that way, right?
they want people, it's not intelligent enough, capable enough to hold down a job, but not intelligent enough to ask what the heck's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what do you say? What is the way forward when we know the pros and cons of standard education and for the youth? What do you think? What system should work?
Okay, let me talk about default settings, and then from that we can do. Right? I said most people are not happy, healthy, wealthy, have good relationships. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people, you've heard the phrase "failing to plan is planning to fail." Correct?
Yeah.
Right. Most people don't have a plan to be wealthy, so by default they have a plan to be poor. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
have a wealth plan, you have a poor plan.
Mm-hmm.
David Bark, in his book The Automatic Millionaire, says there are 6 states people end up in by the time they retire. First is dead broke. He said dead broke is really easy. Spend everything you make, get into debt. When you retire, you'll be dead broke.
Mm-hmm.
You can be poor, penniless. Spend everything you make. Don't get into debt, just spend everything you make. By the way,
Mm-hmm.
David was a millionaire at 30, multimillionaire at 35, right? And he did years of research. You can have enough money to get by. In order to have enough money to get by, which means you don't need help, you can subside, you can subsist, you can exist, you need to save and invest between 1% and 5% of everything that comes in. You can be rich, save and invest 5 to 10%. You can be wealthy, save and invest 10 to 20%, and you can be super wealthy, save and invest 20 to 30%. Because people don't have a plan to be one of the top four, by default, they're going to be one of the first two. They're going to be dead broke or poor.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't have a health plan. They haven't defined what it means to be healthy, so they're actually in the process of becoming sick. I don't do sick. Last time I was sick overnight in hospital was
Mm-hmm.
1955. I don't do sick, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people go to the gym, they stand on the scales to weigh themselves. Your weight's immaterial, it doesn't matter. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
What matters is your fat percentage. 1 kg above maximum cuts between 3 years and 3 months off your life. Your weight's immaterial, it doesn't matter. What's your fat percentage? So if you don't have a health plan, you're eating the wrong foods, you're not exercising enough, you're not drinking enough water,
Mm-hmm.
1 liter of water per 25 kg, right? You have a sickness plan by default.
Yeah.
If you don't say what a really good relationship is with your kids, with your partner, you settle for an average or mediocre relationship
Mm-hmm.
because you haven't defined what this is. It's average, mediocre. If you haven't set as a goal to be really good at what you do, you settle for average or mediocre. So our default setting is average or mediocre when everything we want is up here somewhere.
So planning to
We
fail.
we are planning to fail by default because we don't have a plan to be successful in any area, whatever.
So what
Does
should
that
be
make
the plan?
sense?
Yeah, it does
It,
absolutely.
it's different for everybody. A lot of people set New Year's resolutions.
Oh,
Basically, it's
they die
just a
out.
list. No,
They
but
die out.
basically, it's yeah, because it's not what you want. It's why do you want it? They never actually look at why,
And
right?
why requires a lot of thinking, right? And that's
Correct.
we are not encouraged to
And we
do.
don't like to think. Correct. We
Yeah.
don't like to think. So you want to change? Set goals. And goals have to be 5 things. 1, written down. 2, personal. I, your name. Present. I have, I wear, I live in, I drive, I own, whatever. Present. It has to be positive. The brain, and I haven't found a way to say this without using a negative, the brain cannot process a negative. It's like you're going shopping, you look in the fridge, you say, eggs. What do we say? Don't forget eggs. The brain goes, okay, forget eggs. Go out, buy everything, come back, no eggs. We say, what's wrong with my brain? Nothing. You told your brain forget eggs, it forgot eggs. It's
Yeah.
like you tell a child, take this from A to B, be careful, don't drop it, don't not
And
hurt
they
my little
drop
brain.
it.
Drop it. Of course, you
Drop
told
it,
them to
yeah.
drop it.
And
Why are you
just
giving the
imagine
kid a hard time?
as parents, how much we use the negative language. So actually, we are
Correct.
enforcing and reinforcing to do what we don't want them to do.
Correct. But and then the parents give the kids a hard time. Why you give them a hard time? You told them to drop it.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So we look at things. So goals, written, personal, present, positive, time bound. Put a date against it. And if you don't do these 5 things, it's not a goal. It's a wish list. But if you want to take it a step further, you say, okay, when I achieve this, what is it that I get? Why do I want to achieve it? It's the why that gets you out of bed. It's not the what. It's what you want. So what? Why do you want it? Because of this. And if the why isn't strong,
And
you'll
for
quit.
many people who do not reflect or do not like to think, what advice would you like to give to them to explore their why? Because when it comes to asking themselves the right questions, they find a shortcut or they try to run away. So, what advice are you going to give to those who want to explore the why but don't know how to?
Okay, it's not. It's a, because we tend to think negatively by default. If you can't think about what you do want, think about what you don't want. I don't want to be poor. Okay, good. If you don't want to be poor, what's the opposite of poor? The opposite of poor
Yeah.
is wealthy. And by the way, poor is a mindset. I've been broke and I've been wealthy. Okay? Of the two, wealthy is better, trust me. Right? But being poor is a mindset. I was never
Yeah.
poor. I was broke. And
I
I
agree.
was
And
deeply
words
in
do
debt.
matter. The words we
Words,
think,
words matter.
they would, yeah, do, yeah.
Definitely. School teaches us that it's wrong to fail. You failed your exams, you'll never do this, you'll never do that. Who do you, right? People come out of school so afraid of failing, they won't even try,
Oh, tell me.
right?
It- yeah.
So, FAIL is an acronym, first attempt in learning. There's no such thing as failure, there's just feedback. The way I'm sitting,
True.
actually, my door is here, right?
Yeah.
And there's a
Yeah.
table in front of me.
But
So, if I,
the basic problem with education system that I have, and you have rightly mentioned that they don't encourage you to fail, and the moment you fail, you are shamed to death. And that's why in your practical life, it's very difficult for you to take those small steps or to fail or to try because you haven't been programmed that way.
No, but you
And
eliminate the
that,
word failure.
yeah, but when
There's no.
you like, I don't know about your what kind of education system you belong to, but the kind of education system I belong to, I remember them as red marks, and still the voices are in my head where you are shamed or called words which a child shouldn't hear at that tender age. So wherein you need to appreciate and create an environment for the child where
They're not.
he
Why
or
would they
she,
do that? Why would they do that? They don't want to do that. The
because
system's been in
that
place for 100. The
you are
system's been
trying
in
to
place.
paralyze children
Of
at
course they are. Of course they are.
hmm yeah.
I don't want a
So
nation of
let's
thinkers. I
say,
want a nation.
what's the way forward? Like, for example, if I want my children to explore the world the way you have experienced, and the kind of wisdom and insights you are having, it's definitely not through only through the education system. It's through the practical learning, to the practical experience. So how to break the norm, how to come out of that thinking
Be a
wherein
rebel.
wherein edu- yeah, and wherein education is related with money or
It's not education.
survival, or I mean, education should not be linked with that, because any skill can make you earn money. It should not be linked with education. What do you
Stop
say?
calling it. Stop calling it education. Education comes from the Greek or Latin word educo, which means to entertain a new idea. Most people
Mm-hmm.
rather die than entertain a new idea. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to move forward, you have to eliminate two words from your vocabulary. The first one is failure. There is
Mm-hmm.
no such thing as failure. As I was saying, I'm sitting here, my desk is here, my door is
Mm-hmm.
here.
Yeah.
If I get up and I walk forward and I walk into my desk and I want to reach the door, have I failed or have I just got feedback? I've just got
Mm-hmm.
feedback. This way is not going to take you to the door. So, okay,
Mm-hmm.
so even if I turn in this direction and I head off there and I reach something else, I reach the wall, have I failed? No, I've just got feedback. This direction isn't going to take you to the door. So, as long as
Mm-hmm.
I keep changing my direction, my plan, eventually I'll get to the door,
Mm-hmm.
right? Thomas
Yeah, true.
Edison, what did he invent?
Light bulb.
What else?
What
He set
else?
himself a goal, right? Every 10 days, a minor invention. Every 6 months, a major invention. At the time of his death, he
Okay.
had 1,093 inventions, right? He had a team of people. How many experiments did he do for the incandescent light bulb? Do you know?
I'm sure must be many.
What's many? 10, 20, 50, 100, 1,000? What's many?
Maybe 100 or more than that.
Maybe 100. Okay. After 5,000 experiments, he's interviewed by a newspaper and reporters who say, look, Mr. Edison, you have failed 5,000 times to find the answer to the incandescent light bulb. The world is lit by gas lamps and candles. Why don't you quit? He said, I haven't failed. I have successfully found 5,000 ways the light bulb
Ways.
does not work. He went
Wonderful.
on to successfully find another
What
six.
persistence.
He went on to, no, because his why was so strong, right? He went on to find another 6,000 ways the light bulb did not work. After
Okay.
11,000 experiments, he lit up a whole city block, 100 bulbs for 8 hours. Interviewed again, he said, I had to succeed. I was running out of finding ways it did not work. So there's no such thing as failure, you just get feedback, right? That's one. If you have a goal that you want to achieve, the world is going to do two things. It is going to put obstacles in the way. As Brian Tracy says, problems come not to obstruct, but to instruct. The obstacle has two functions. One, the world is checking to see, are you serious?
And
If
then
you quit,
testing.
the world's it's just testing. Are you serious about reaching your goal? You know what? Forget it. Okay, you're not
Right.
serious. But somewhere within that challenge, stop calling them problems, right? The only people that don't have problems are dead, right?
Challenges they are.
Challenges. The mindset of a problem is, oh, you know what? I really don't need another one. But the challenge is, how can we overcome it? So every obstacle has some knowledge in there that you need in order to move forward. And if you don't learn the lesson, your obstacles become bigger.
And what advice are you going to give to people if you have read the book Who Moved My Cheese? So for that kind of mouse, what advice are you gonna give?
Uh, question everything. Know your why. Well, Simon Sinek wrote the book. What? Start with why, and then he wrote another book later, like find your why.
Finding why is the most difficult thing, right?
No, it's not
I
difficult.
mean,
It just requires thought, which most people don't want to do.
yeah, yeah, that's a mindset, right?
It is.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's such a pleasure talking to you, Mike. There's so much to learn from you. What?
Um, Correct.
You go ahead.
I've I've spent, I don't know, 70 years learning, still learning. There's still a
Uh-huh.
tremendous amount out there I don't know.
So, what are some lessons that you learned from your very hard, let's call it failures or let's call it feedback? What are
Experiences.
experiences? Yeah, that's a better word. So,
That's a better word.
um, now, what adjective are you going to use with experience when I want to ask you?
Have you just frozen? It looks like you've frozen.
Yeah, I think the picture
You
got.
yeah, you froze. I couldn't hear you, couldn't see you. You froze. I don't know what happened.
I think there's some problem with the internet.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
we were at what did you learn from your hard experiences in life?
Know what you want, know why you want it, never give up. And be persistent, not stubborn. Do you know the difference?
Come again?
Be persistent, but not
Yeah,
stubborn. What's the
yeah.
difference? Okay.
The
What's the
one has a
difference?
negative side to stubbornness, wherein you have a big ego, but wherein you, with persistence, you try to change you take detours when needed.
Okay. Persistent, you still know why you're doing something.
Uh-huh.
Stubborn, you're doing it anyway, but you've forgotten why.
Yeah.
Right?
So.
You're still doing what you're doing, but you don't know why you're doing it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Persistence, you still have your eye on the goal. You still know what you're doing, why you're doing it. Right?
And
So
maybe
sometimes
because of that, you have that ego not to take detours or change your route because your why is no more.
okay.
You have forgotten your why, right? That's what you meant to say, isn't that so?
It's Persistent is I still want to get to the door. It doesn't matter how much feedback I get.
Yeah.
I want to get to
Uh-huh.
the door, right?
Uh-huh.
My why is that whatever my why is to get to the door, right?
Mm-hmm.
It will never be a straight line. And the world is always going to check to see, am I serious about getting to the door,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it will always be checking. Do you really want to get to the door? Yeah. Okay, well, let's check again. Here's another obstacle. There's my TV. My TV's in front of me. Or there's a
Mm-hmm.
table. My table's in front of me. Or there's some
Mm-hmm.
plants. No, I don't. I want to get to the door. These are just, what am I learning? I'm learning that this direction won't take me to the door. Okay, I've learned that this doesn't work. So stop going in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
If you just keep going in this direction, if you just change 1 degree,
Mm-hmm.
1 degree, at the end of a couple of years, you are hundreds of degrees,
Mm-hmm.
right? It doesn't take big steps. The difference between success and failure are just a few tweaks, a few little things, looking at things differently.
Mm-hmm.
Feedback, failure.
So, Mike,
Problem,
what do you
challenge.
say if that door is not the right door? It can
Well, every
happen.
time,
So,
okay, if a door shuts, it's because that is not what you're looking for.
mm-hmm.
Further down the road, is the door you're looking for.
So
It's
then
just that this
wherein
door,
that stubbornness or persistence would come in
persist.
such a situation, wherein that
Correct.
door is not meant for you or is not the right
Okay,
door for
yeah,
you.
it's not the right door. It's not going to take me where I want to go.
So
So I've got
even
more
if
than one door here.
even if I try 6,000 times, it won't open, right? The bulb won't light up.
It's not the right door. Maybe you need to try 11,000 times.
So how
And
to
by the
know
way,
where is that boundary, or where I would know that stop trying, change your goal.
okay, the challenge is people try stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When you try something, you don't believe you're going to succeed. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
Two, you're already giving yourself permission to fail,
Mm-hmm.
right? People try stuff. I'm going to try and do this. Are you going to give it 100%? No, of course you're not going to give it 100%, because you're already thinking, I don't think I can do this. So you're already thinking about quitting before you even start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're never going to get anywhere with that mentality.
Mm-hmm.
It's the few people who succeed who say, you will see me at the top of the mountain or dead on the slopes. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
There is no option. Failure is not an option.
True.
And most people don't make that decision. It's, well, I'll try something. If it works, okay. If it doesn't work, I'll quit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. It's what people do, but it doesn't make sense.
Huh.
It explains why so many people quit, but it doesn't make sense. Their why
The,
is not
the
strong
world
enough.
we live in doesn't make sense. No.
It makes
Does
perfect
it?
sense. It makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. And how?
It's
How
just
so?
people look at the surface. They don't look below. They don't look what's happening behind the scenes. They just
Mm-hmm.
see what's happening at the surface and accept that's the way things are. That's not the way things are. There's always
Mm-hmm.
something. There's no cause without effect. Or there's no
Mm-hmm.
effect without cause. Like they say, there's no smoke without fire.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's
True.
smoky in here. I wonder why that happened. The place is on fire? Oh, yeah, okay.
So it requires a level of consciousness and awareness that the world is not, maybe still not ready. What do you say?
Why not? The world's been here 14.5 billion years.
Well,
Why
what's
aren't
stopping
we
the
ready?
world? Well, what's stopping the world?
It's just what we tend to believe. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Humans a bit, I'll say human, Homo sapiens or Homo whatever. We've been here for what, 600,000 years, close on a million?
Mm-hmm.
We lived in cave for 600,000 years, all sorts
Mm-hmm.
of stuff, right? So
Yeah.
we've been here around about a million years, not
Mm-hmm.
much. If you stretch your arms out, from one side to the other,
Mm-hmm.
and then you take a nail file and you go, what? That's humans off the map. That's it. One pass with a nail file in
Mm-hmm.
time that the Earth's been here. It's nothing. That's it, gone. Dinosaurs ruled the Earth for what, 140 million years? And basically, in a blink of an eye, they were gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what according to you is the way forward?
Never stop learning.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I think
Never stop
that's
learning.
that's that's one thing that's the most precious thing that you have, the power, the ability to learn, because the other side is stagnancy. Wonderful.
Hmm.
I love your thoughts. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. It's a very deep and insightful discussion. I'm totally engulfed in it, and it's a pleasure talking to you. And soon, definitely, I would like to talk on all other topics that we discussed some other time. It's a pleasure that you are a wealth of knowledge at the moment, and I have a deep love for learning. Thank you for giving your
Me
time.
too. No, thank you for inviting me. I've enjoyed it.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks, Mike. See,
Okay, thanks.
see you next time.
Cheers. Bye.
Okay. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. This brings an end to our conversations for this season. From the feedback that we have received for Soulfully Yours, we are glad you found our content valuable and enlightening. Firstly, a big clap for myself for making that happen. I must tell you that this would not have been possible without our team running things smoothly in the background. In our culture, we often hesitate appreciating our own family and shower all the thanks to the outsiders. I would like to use this platform to bring about a shift by thanking my children, Ahmed and Doa, who ran the technical aspects of this show, making sure everything goes fine. I'm grateful to my amazing husband who supported me throughout the journey. Thank you, Farooq. And thanks to my parents. Yes, I'm wearing the pendant. Love, dream, happiness. Thank you. I would extend my gratitude to Sharik Javed, Abdul Majid Abbasi, Hafsa Naseem, and Iram Khan for the valuable contribution. Time is the most precious thing that we have because we can never get that back again. Therefore, I would like to pay my respect to the esteemed guests who joined us at our show, both online and in person, sharing their insights and wisdom. Thank you. Thank you to a wonderful audience. That is you. Thank you. अपने मन में डूब कर पाजा सुराग जिंदगी तू अगर मेरा नहीं बनता ना बन अपना तो बन